Coming to you from sunny California and the Great White North. Get ready. We are breaking down the obstacles on the Armchair Ninja Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Armchair Ninja Podcast. It is Friday, September 8th, 2017. My name is Rich, and joining me once again this week is Bijan. How you making out?
What's up, man? I am good. Wow, what a fantastic episode. It's crazy. We're finally here at the Vegas finals. I mean, I don't know. This season's flying by, man.
It did fly by, and I was a little worried about the finals. I knew it was really hot in Vegas, and I thought maybe their performances would slip, but oh my God, this was an amazing episode. They did fantastic.
I mean, it really blew me away. It's very rare that we get an episode this good. And it's the Vegas finals, the beginning Vegas finals. I mean, I can just imagine how crazy next week's going to be. This has been really, really just entertaining and fun the entire way around. And many ups and downs, you know, it's not all good things, but overall entertaining all the way.
Yeah, it was a great episode. And actually, there's so much to talk about. That is all we're going to talk about this episode. We will continue our National Ninja League coverage after the regular season of ANW. So nothing but Vegas, baby. Let's get into it right away.
But just a little tidbit, if you guys have any suggestions for the off-season, hit us up because we definitely have some things planned for you guys over the next coming months.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. There's always lots to talk about, and we're going to be having lots of fun in the off-season as we always do. But yeah, so first off, I have to mention this course looked scary. It looks so scary.
Dude, okay, there is so much to talk about. First of all, that double dipper, bro. Oh, man. I am in love with that obstacle.
Anyone that even pushed themselves off of that platform holding onto that bar is a hero in my mind. That looked terrifying.
It's so cool, man. You know, we always talk about how some obstacles are really hard, but visually just not there. And sometimes there's a vice versa. I mean, this really has both. Visually, you look at that thing, you're like, whoa. And it's very difficult and intrigues it in its own way. So overall, all around, I mean, that's a big thumbs up. I was so impressed. Just automatically when you look at that, you just know it's going to be a beast.
Yes, it was a perfect balance, though, because when I first saw it, I thought, oh, they stuck a stupid ninja killer right at the beginning of the course, because I didn't realize until they zoomed in that they had things to keep it on track. I thought maybe it was they had to try to keep the bar in between on top of everything else, and I thought there's no way they're going to be able to do that.
Well, in many ways, you can still, like, if you really fling yourself one way or the other, the bar can
right.
come
Oh,
off,
no. It's still difficult. I'm not trying to take away from it, the fact that it is a very difficult, very cool obstacle. But like you said, it's very visually interesting, too. It's just an amazing obstacle. I loved it.
Yeah. Number one thing for me, though, and I don't know if you caught this, Rich, but in previous seasons, when it came to Stage 1, the trampolines were a big factor. And you guys know about me. I rant always about the trampolines and how much of kind of an annoyance it is for me of the fact that if you're a lighter person, you're going to have a much tougher time because they're just not balanced enough. It definitely seemed to me that the springs were a lot tighter this episode, where everybody was getting a much better bounce from these trampolines, almost to the point where Barclay Stockett almost kind of was like a flying squirrel or something, man. She almost flew above that propeller bar. It was crazy, but I definitely took notice of that. It could be as simple as just magically everybody got really, really good at doing the trampoline from practice and stuff, but I have to imagine the trampoline on both the propeller bar and the jumping spider both were tightened and definitely influenced and helped a lot of the competitors, which I'm all for, because trampoline, if that's not really the focus of the obstacle for me.
Yeah, it's just how you get into the obstacle for the most part, right? And I completely agree. I was actually really sad to see propeller bar back. I thought it was going to be a bunch of sad, ridiculous falls again, but we definitely didn't have that. A lot of familiar obstacles. Snake Run, not much to say about it. I'm glad it's back. I think it is pretty good.
I like it.
Propeller bar, not a big fan of, but it didn't seem to be the big obstacle that we've had in the past. Jumping Spiders, classic, gotta have it. Parkour Run, it was very, very similar to what we've seen before, but just tweaked a little bit. I kind of like the change.
I like the change, and I was really surprised that it tripped a lot of people up in certain aspects. I mean, it's very similar to the one in Sasuke, and it gave a lot of people some trouble. And I mean, that it definitely shows why it's there, so I'm all for it. But I was definitely shocked by that.
Yeah, I didn't think there was any difference at first until I saw the first runner go, and then I realized, oh, okay, so yeah, now I see how it's different from, oh, geez, what is that thing called from last year? The Sonic Curve. So it's definitely a little different from that. Domino pipes. I think
Now
you were a fan of this one, weren't you?
That one scared me. I mean, there's an obstacle where I was like, they're insane. How's anybody going to get through it? It was those. But I was actually really impressed. A lot of people were able to figure it out. And it didn't turn out to be the ninja killer that I thought it was going to be, because that was the one I was really, really worried where it was just going to be, oh, all these great ninjas have all this promise, and then this stupid obstacle just takes everybody out, and it's the end. But in many ways, it's difficult, but it wasn't insane, and that's what I liked about it. It goes back to the essence of what Stage 1 is, which is the competitor going through all of these agility and all these really tough obstacles, but at the end of the day, the number one obstacle and the number one ninja killer is always going to be that time limit. And that's what I like, and that's what I respect.
Yeah, I think it was a great obstacle. I thought it was really interesting. And the flying squirrel, I was so glad to see it back. I love that obstacle. I think it's great. And the cargo climb, just to suck up some last bit of time and to make that more dramatic finish for those that are a little pressed for time.
It got somebody this episode, man. Everybody tries to act like it's nothing. It got somebody.
No, it's definitely an obstacle. So let's get into the runs. And I was really, really happy with who they picked to show. I mean, there were a couple that I was a little disappointed that they fast forwarded, but overall, some great choices here. I really thought they were good. So taking a look at the first person to take the course was Gabe Hurtado. I was so excited. And then I realized, oh no, he's the first guy. That's not a good sign.
I mean, you gotta keep like, you gotta roll with the punches, man. When it comes to Stage 1, I don't know how you feel, Rich, and I don't know how, like, I'm curious how everybody else feels. When it comes to the Vegas finals, I feel like we're in Game of Thrones or something, and it's just like, oh boy, all of our favorite heroes are about to get like just dunzoed, man. And it's rough, but you just got to go in with that shield above your heart, being like, okay, I don't want to see this, but I have to know it's coming.
Yeah, Gabe cut it close on the propeller bar. I mean, he almost took a really early. Well, he didn't come close, I guess. It was just a really interesting way that he got past that. Very, very cool. Very, very fast. All in one smooth motion, but he did go out. He was the first victim of the double dipper, unfortunately, and that was when I realized how crazy that obstacle is. They move so fast through
so
it.
Fast. It's kind of like a roller coaster, and I'm talk about an obstacle. Just I want to try. That looks so fun.
Yeah, not in a million years. You'd have to tie me to that bar to get me to go down that thing. No way. But it's amazing to watch. And then we get to see Karsten Williams take the course. Love to see Karsten.
This was the one I was scared of. Man, I was like, oh no, Karsten, man. But I'm so happy to see him. Dude's amazing. Now, this was the thing. The video before his run, did you feel like it was hinting to something?
Karsten, yeah, I feel like they faked me out. I don't remember the exact details, but yeah, I think overall, I was kind of expecting him to go a little earlier.
Yeah, it's kind of like he falls in the second obstacle, then the third obstacle. So I was like, oh boy, fourth obstacle, here we go. And he actually got further than I expected. And the dude, like anybody that's seen him on Team Ninja Warrior, the guy has so much promise. And he's so dang good. It's Stage 1, man. It gets him.
But he did really good. I don't think we can take too much away from him here. He did fantastic. He was like really solid through most of the course, and then he just had a bad fall on the domino pipes. I don't think I can overstate how smooth and controlled he was through the first part of that course, and it was just a slip up.
He's so good. And what's crazy is, I mean, once again, on Team Ninja Warrior, when you see him go, you feel like his number one strongest asset would be Stage 1. And yet it's the one thing that's proving to be his kryptonite. So I don't know. I still think like next year we're going to see him go a lot further. But I felt the same way this year. So Karsten Williams is just a curious case. He's one of those guys that gets really bad luck sometimes.
Great job by Karsten, obviously. And then we moved on to Maggie Thorne, who has been really getting a lot of spotlight this season, which is great because she did really, really well.
One thing, though, I gotta say, just because there's so many people that were passed up this episode, gotta say, it's the third time harping on the same story, and it's a really great story, but I think this was the one where it could have been shortened or not needed. And I hate saying that, man, but it's the third time we're seeing the same exact story from her.
Yeah, I felt like they shortened it up enough, probably. I think they just wanted to remind people that don't follow Ninja quite as closely. It's like, oh yeah, okay, I remember her now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think they gave it just enough to kind of jog everybody's memory. I don't think it was meant to be a full-on story. It might have been a little bit too long.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from with that. One thing, did you notice how nervous she looked right before they double dip her? I mean, it got me really worried that she was psyching herself out. I mean, she was grabbing onto the bar and talking to herself, kind of like, I don't know if it was amping herself up or maybe she was getting really nervous, but she took a while preparing for that launch mentally. And an obstacle like that, and you've alluded to it, I mean, if you're not comfortable with like roller coasters or things in high up places, I mean, that can really affect you. And I think this was a case of maybe she psyched herself out too much because technique-wise, when you're doing a launch platform like that, the worst thing you can do is just hang completely low and let your body swing. It basically kills off all your momentum going forward, and it kind of like launches you upwards or backwards, which kind of happened here. So just curious how you felt.
I thought it was the actions of a reasonable, rational human being to stand up there and be a little nervous. I guess I didn't really take much note of it. I don't know. It's possible, especially like you described. She definitely didn't transition properly because it was kind of an epic fall, similar to Karsten's. And I thought, did they design stage 1 to have like the most epic falls we've ever seen? Because these are very, very interesting to watch, almost like Wipeout quality of like falling headfirst sideways, into the water.
I don't think that, but if there's ever an obstacle with like a bunch of really large bouncing balls, I mean, we'll know what's up then. But yeah, it's definitely irrational that anybody would feel this way. And we've seen a few competitors come in with this nervousness, but hers definitely stood out to me, probably the most. It was just very visually there and present. I mean, it's definitely something that I think she's going to be proud of herself for being able to at least try and everything, because I have a feeling she was worried going into it, but I'm happy that she was able to get that far, but I really feel like she could have gone even further. And it was more mental thing rather than physical thing.
Yeah, I mean, she's incredibly strong. We know that. This was her first time in Vegas, to remember, too, right? So, of course, the nerves are going to get to her with the lights and the flames and all the craziness going on.
Good point, man.
So, overall, I think she was a little disappointed. I don't think anybody else was. I think she did great for her first time. We've seen tons of ninjas get to Vegas and fall on the first or second obstacle. She was able to beat the propeller bar, which is actually tough for a lot of women on their first time there. So, yeah, I mean, she has no reason to second guess herself at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Moving on, we had Chris DeGangi take the course, his first time in Vegas in 5 years, and he attributes it to his new training partner, Jesse Labreck, who you couldn't ask for a better training partner, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
He was looking really good, looking really solid through the course. I was very pleasantly surprised, sounds mean, but I mean, I really didn't know how strong he was because I haven't seen him in years. Didn't really stand out to me too much, but he looked really solid. He missed the parkour run swing at first, but he recovered really easily. He managed to catch that last domino, and I don't know if I'll forget that anytime soon because that was an epic recovery.
Yeah, that was the highlight of the run. I mean, it's so impressive to just physically be able to come back from that, especially by the fact that we've seen obstacles like that take out so many competitors. And in many cases, the things that stand out, it's one thing to just breeze through the entire stage 1 willy-nilly. I mean, it's really cool to see, but it's a whole other thing when you have to come back from adversity and really just go all out and persevere. And I mean, the guy tried his hardest and he actually got out of that really tough situation. So props to him. He might not have made it to stage 2, but I'm definitely going to remember his run, and that speaks a lot, you know.
I hadn't clued in until you just said that about him persevering and how much that says about somebody. Jesse did the exact same thing later on. We'll cover it in more detail, but
exactly,
she had a very similar run.
It's kind of the story of that couple, and in many ways, I mean, you know what obstacle they are going to be training for the next year, Rich. Yeah. We'll get to it.
A great run by Chris, but with time running out and him spending all that energy, unfortunately, he went out on the flying squirrel. He was just so worn out. He had nothing left.
Yeah, it speaks a lot when the person comes out of the water, and typically, you know, the palm guy just throws a palm towel right on them, you know, kind of smacking him in the face sometimes, which is pretty fun. But it's typically competitors will be talking and they seem fine. This guy looked completely winded, like he just ran a marathon, and he could barely even talk. He was so exhausted. So I don't blame him. I mean, look at that run that he did. I mean, just looked incredibly exhausting.
Next to take the course was Brian Wolczewski. I don't even know. I don't know. I kind of had it spoiled. I knew what was coming.
Really?
Yeah. I had seen. It's so hard. We were recording this on Wednesday night, so we had to go 2 days trying to avoid all social media. And I just caught a glimpse of something about the fastest fall in ANW history, and I was like, "Oh, geez, who's that going to be?" And when I saw them hyping up the fact that he fell in the timbers 4 years ago, I thought, geez, is it going to be Brian? And then they showed the shirts, and I was kind of second guessing myself. I thought, well, maybe they're just trying to explain why they're wearing those shirts. But he went out fast. So that has to be the fastest fall. He just jumped and he missed the second step, went directly into the water. Like
That's crazy.
Glanced off of the obstacle.
I mean, that build up with the story, I was kind of like, why are they talking about this? Cool, he perseveres from the first obstacle, moving on with my life.
Right.
But then it's like, then it actually played into the story of this run, and I don't know, I laughed so hard, but then I felt bad for him. But then I'm like, why are you even skipping it, bro? Like, what are you doing? It's, you know, some people, we saw later in the episode, some people can get through doing that, but I don't know. When it comes to first obstacle, why play with fire? Why do it? I mean, we've seen the greatest of the great fall out on that with Jeff Britton and everything, and it's just, it's tough.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was my thoughts too. Travis Rosen and Jeff Britton, and we even saw Jesse Graff in the USA versus World go out on Snake Run. Don't overlook it. Like, what are you doing? That's a crazy idea. And there are some people that did it later on. I don't think it was good for anyone to do. I think they were all crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you do that on Snake Run. I'm like, cool. That looked cool. But, I mean, it's not worth that risk. It really isn't.
Nope. So, unfortunately, Brian did go out there.
I feel bad for you, Brian. That's rough. Well, always next year.
Yes. Let's hope. Next to take the course was Nick Hanson, the Eskimo Ninja. He had a little segment with his mom. His mom was an alcoholic when he was younger. Well, not even that much younger, because she's been sober for 6 years now. That was a nice little segment. It
was good. It's
a little jarring in Vegas, right? Because I just kind of expect them to just go run, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is the story or videos that you typically see in the qualifiers or, you know, like regional finals. But in many ways, it was refreshing seeing this. With that said, I mean, what a tough story. It's really cool that he was able to share this with the world, and his mom was okay with it also, because I have to imagine, you know, she had to sign off on it too.
Yeah.
I mean, this is showing off a really, really dark spot in an entire family's history, especially, you know, his mom. So, I mean, it's hard for me to judge anybody in that situation. I grew up around people that were addicted to different things, and I can see how much it affected my friends and the people around me. And I know, or I have to imagine, that was really hard on him growing up. But I'm really, really happy that they were able to rekindle everything and that they're in a good place both.
Yeah, and I think ANW did a good job of covering it respectfully. I think it was a good little segment. It just kind of gave you a better feel for their family, I guess.
Yeah, and in many ways, much more respect to Nick Hanson, just because I had no idea that he went through that. In many ways, it just makes you feel for the guy more.
Yeah, and then we were reminded that he missed out on moving to stage 2 last year by 2 seconds.
Ooh, my heart. I mean, just why you gotta do that to me? Why you gotta do that to me, ANW? Just there are some moments I just need to forget because it's too heartbreaking.
Yeah, and then when we were watching him on the course, it's like, come on, move faster. He's just kind of willing him through the course. Like, he misses the rope on the propeller in the first
screaming
spin.
at the TV.
He misses the warped wall on his first turn. He just looks winded, and you're like, oh, come on, move faster, move faster, move faster. You're cutting it close. He had 5 seconds left to spare when he did finish it. Thankfully, he did finish and moves on to stage 2.
Mm-hmm. And it's refreshing seeing somebody finish the stage this early on in the episode. And I mean, what a fantastic guy to start it all off. I mean, I was really happy for him, like really, really happy for him. That said, I don't know, man. I'm not feeling. I have a feeling he's going to have a tough time on stage 2.
Yeah, that's possible. Next to take the course was Judas Licciardello. He's a third generation auctioneer who pulled out his phone at the start line in one of the.
That was the dumbest moment of the episode.
100%. Yeah, I don't know. Don't do that again. If somebody knows Judas,
man.
please tell him never to do that again.
That was so bad. It was so cringeworthy. And it kept going. That was the worst part.
Yes.
It wasn't just like he pulls it out and talks. He kept talking. I'm like, oh. It just, like, I kind of cuddled up into a ball of cringe. I'm like, oh, stop, please. Just end it already. Then they go into a vignette.
The vignette was fine.
The video was fine, but a little too long. I don't need the whole back history of him being an auctioneer.
Yeah, it's a little too much.
I don't know. Just, it's all about timing, guys. There are some episodes where you just don't need all that.
Yeah, I think it may be a little long, but it was good to have a little bit on him. And then I was really impressed with the flips that I don't remember seeing during the regular season. They show them.
Wasn't that awesome?
They were very, very cool.
That was so cool. I mean, such creativity in the moment, especially on an obstacle that a lot of people are like that mentally is a really tough obstacle. The transitions for the double dipper and him just like having that intuition to do a freaking flip off of that. I mean, good on you, bro.
I am glad they featured that because that was very, very cool to see. He did end up going out of the jumping spider, but earned his little segment just with that flip.
Didn't earn the segment, but props.
Yeah. Earned more than a fast forward, let's say, at least. It was cool to see. Real time.
Yeah.
Next to take the course, one of my favorite runs of the night. Barclay Stockett. Amazing run.
Yeah, fantastic run. Barclay is so fun to watch, man. In many ways, I like this kind of theme that they've been having this entire season of Casey Catanzaro handing over the baton of the, I don't know, like the shorty that could, to Barclay Stockett. And I mean, if there's ever a competitor to hand it over to, it's Barclay. She's amazing. And I don't know, her run was so fun. And in many ways, with Barclay, you don't really feel the limitations of her height or size or anything. She's just amazing at everything she does.
Yeah, I think for the first time in the history of this podcast, I'm going to throw a little shade Casey's way because I can't help it. Because when they said they really made a point of her passing on the baton, I was like, oh, great, she's going to go in the propeller bar. Like, that's my first thought as soon as they said it.
Wow.
I feel bad,
bro.
But it's such a limitation. So to be clear, it's not really Casey. I'm just thinking at 5 feet tall, that propeller bar is so incredibly difficult, and it's not really a fair obstacle, I thought, until Barclay almost cleared it. She darn near used it like a high jump or like a pole vault.
That was such an iconic moment for me. I mean, Rich, with your quiz and all the illustrations that you do, by the way, guys, you definitely have to check out his quiz on our website, ninjapodcast.com. It's amazing. Little plug. You've got to do the one with her just spider monkeying, flying over the dang propeller bar. I mean, it was so crazy cool. It reminded me a lot of Najee Richardson, almost like doing...
Yeah.
Like flying over the warped wall. I mean, that was such a really cool moment. And I think it exudes more just by the fact that She's so small. If there's anybody you didn't expect it to do that, it's Barclay Stockett. And yet it was her to do it.
I just got to chill because it wasn't just that she beat that. She didn't stop beating things. She just kept going. She beat the double dipper. I was losing my mind. She beats the jumping spider, which we've only ever had 2 women beat prior to now. This episode blew that out of the water.
Yep.
She ends up taking a knee at the wall, and I was like, okay, so, well, you know what? This is great. This is where Megan and Jesse get held up their first time, in stage 1. They both struggled with the warped wall because you don't have enough run up, and she's at 5 feet. She's going to have a really tough time. She beat the freaking wall. How did she beat the wall?
She beat the wall. I mean, this was the moment where I knew we were in for something special, man. I really feel like this season, these women are coming out to play, and we've been alluding to it, and I'm still there, bro. More than 2 or more women are completing stage 1. I thoroughly believe that. And Barclay Stockett, I mean, she got to the final obstacle. Wow. Wait, no, she didn't. Anyways.
Yeah, she beat the domino pipes, right? Like she
did beat so she did. That's right.
Yeah.
She just flew through at the end.
She had like 5 seconds left and she ran across them. Like, she didn't fall. She made it through. She timed out on the last obstacle. That is so freaking cool.
So good. And I'm just so happy for her and all the female competitors. I mean, this, I really feel is going to be the season, the themed of women just blowing past a lot of the men. And I don't know. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, a fantastic run by Barclay. Couldn't have been well, I mean, I would have been happier if she finished the whole thing, but an amazing effort.
She sure came close. It's that time limit, and you know what? The timer is fine with me.
Yeah, definitely. You need that there. You do need that pressure. And it just means that she'll be all that much better next year when she comes back and destroys it and moves on to stage 2. So excited.
Mm-hmm.
She very well might be one of my favorite competitors now. She has totally stolen me this season.
I feel you, man. Could you imagine Barclay Stockett on stage 3?
Firecracker.
Just imagine that.
I'm still not crazy about the firecracker thing. Barclay Strong's fine. The firecracker, yeah.
I've heard much worse.
Yes, we've had a few much worse. So then we had a few fast forwards. We had Anthony DeFranco, who went out on the jumping spider for the second year, which is always terrible. You always want people to get a little further than they did the year before. Lucas Gomez, I get fast forward as well. He went out on the propeller bar, and I'm sure Bijan's heartbroken.
So heartbroken.
Michael Torres, though.
Now that's heartbreaking. Michael Torres, man. Dude is so good. Dude was just flying through. He was going way too fast, bro.
I guess we don't see too many fails in the middle of the jumping spider anymore. It's been a while, I think.
Yeah, because that's basically a transition part. I mean, the catch is a really tough part.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes when you're going way too fast and being reckless, I mean, those mental lapses, some people just overlook the obstacles. And Michael Torres, I'm sure he caught himself. He's like, yo, I got this. I already caught my tough part of the jumping spider, so let's just transition through. And unfortunately, it got him. But dude's really good. Don't sleep on him, guys.
Yeah. And next to take the course was Travis Rosen. I was very excited to see getting some love. A little worried. I wasn't quite sure after last year's fall and snake run and him talk about almost retiring after that. I was like, oh, man, this could really go. This is probably the biggest question mark of the night for me. I didn't know which way it was going to go. It was kind of going to be one or the other.
For me, it was Lance Pekus.
Oh, actually, no. Yeah, there was actually... No, you know who's the biggest question? We'll talk about it later. But yeah, there was one that I was like, this dude's going to have the fastest run or the fastest fall. I'm not sure which is going to be.
Oh, I know where you're going with that, yeah.
But yeah, so Travis takes the course, looking really good. His kids were like amazingly cute cheering for him on the sidelines. He just caught himself in the domino pipes, but he had lots of times left. Just a great run. 28 seconds left on the clock at 42. He's the oldest stage 1 finisher.
Yeah, Travis Rosen, I feel like we can see him going on for like the next 10 years and breaking that record like more and more, like oldest compared to get to stage 3, because I can definitely see him doing that easily, you know? And yeah, I'm just really happy for him because it was tough seeing him fall at the very beginning of stage 1 last year with a guy that's just so good and has been at the top of the sport for so long. So I'm happy for him. Once again, he's back in peak form. I mean, the dude's just good. So good.
Yeah, I really wouldn't be surprised for him to move that bar every year, unless Jon Stewart manages to get in by next year, which is totally possible. Mm-hmm. So at this point, they had Mike Tirico join them, another NBC.
Talk about the random moment of the episode.
I was trying to think of a good comparison. It's kind of like your uncle wandering into the room while you're in the middle of watching the show and like, so what are you watching? Can you like describe what's going on?
That's a good one. Yeah, that is a perfect analogy for that. It was strange. I mean, it wasn't a bad one where it's like some random dude that just doesn't care about anything going on. It's just there to like kind of mock whoever's running. I mean, the guy definitely. You could tell it was a spot, and they were promoting football and everything. But at least the guy in commentary wasn't offensive or anything.
No, he was fine. He seemed legitimately interested, just not
very random though.
Terribly, yeah. It's very, very random. So next,
so this guy right here, is he good? It's like
I noticed
so
a lot of
weird.
people, if they do well in the first half, they have a lot of time for the second half. Like, that's a very good point, Mike. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that.
But next to take the course was Josh Levin how do we not know this? I feel like someone should have told us this along the way. Charlie Andrews injured himself in training and almost
it was
died.
Not an injury. Yeah, this is way. I mean, that video was scary, and it's crazy that they had the footage of the injury. I mean, it's one because a lot of times we'll hear about an injury, right? And you overlook the severity of it just because you don't have the visual representation. If we were to just be told, oh, Charlie Andrews, he's out because he hurt himself and he had a brain injury, it's like, oh, that sounds serious, but it's like moving on my day, you know? With this, when you see how big of a deal it was and how scary it was, I mean, it just brought so much gravity to the situation. And not just Charlie Andrews, but also Josh Levin's run. I didn't think Josh Levin was going to complete this course because I thought he was just having so much on his mind at the time, you know? But this was really disheartening by the fact that we didn't get to see Charlie Andrews. And I like the fact that they had this storyline throughout the season. Because if you remember, Rich and everybody, like in the qualifiers, the whole story between these two guys was the fact that they were going to go to Vegas and that they were going to compete together and hit this in complete stage one and hopefully the entire show. And I mean, what a heartbreaking turn of events. But the most important thing is Charlie Andrews is recovering, and it doesn't sound like he has any long-term severe physical issues, or at least that's what they didn't really tell us. So I'm happy for that. And I really, really wish Charlie Andrews the best in a speedy recovery because that's scary. And just remember, guys, Charlie Andrews and Josh Levin, they are very young. Like, we just talked about a competitor that's 43. These guys are probably half his age, or maybe even younger.
Well, this is Charlie's first year qualifying, right? So he's 21.
Yeah, so he's younger than half the age of Travis Rosen.
Of me?
I mean,
like really, like,
well,
seriously.
That too.
Well, that's the thing. Like, he's my daughter's age. Like, that brings it home for me. Like, that is way too young to be dealing with that craziness, especially someone young and healthy like that, peak physical condition. And to have just a random incident like that, fracture his skull and almost die from it. Like, not just, I mean, everybody on the show, I swear to God, every athlete I hear about is injured in one way or another. Everybody's taped up. Everybody's banged up. Like, you yourself, I mean, everybody seems to injure themselves constantly that does these athletic pursuits. But to almost lose your life for it is just, it just really hit home with me. Like, unbelievable. I'm so glad that he came through, and so glad that it sounds like we're going to see him again next year. But yeah, it did totally look like Josh was distracted in his run at the beginning, right? He almost fell on the propeller bar. I really wasn't sure how he was going to do.
I mean, thank the heavens for the fact that Josh Levin's like a world-class rock climber, because any other person should have fell in that propeller bar.
Yeah.
With how he was literally dangling from his fingertip on the thing while it's spinning independently. I mean, there's just physically, it's one of those insane inhuman things that he was able to readjust from that, but he was able to. And I'm really happy he was able to get through this. Hopefully he got a lot of those mental things out. But, I mean, it's tough. I mean, I can't even imagine what was going on through his brain at the time. That's a whole lot of stuff to deal with, especially at his age. I mean, nobody his age should be going through that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he was looking good by about the midpoint. Just after the jumping spider, I felt like to the end he was looking really solid. I think he did manage to get it under control, and he beat the whole course, so we'll see him in stage 2.
Yeah, really happy for him. I mean, it's overshadowed a little bit, but remember, guys, and if you've heard me over the past year pretty much, Josh Levin is my number 1 new rookie to watch out for. Josh Levin is so phenomenal, and I really, really expect a lot from this guy. Do not be shocked if he makes it to stage 3 and maybe complete stage 4. This guy is that good.
Yeah, he is definitely one of the top contenders. Next to take the course was Kevin Carbone, the maker. I was really excited to see him take the course again. I thought, wow, they really given Kevin a good spotlight this season.
Yeah, I was stunned that he got the highlight, but I'm happy for him because the guy is really good, very energetic, and very entertaining. It's just one of those competitors where it's like, oh, okay, like, this is cool, and he never fails to entertain me. He's really, his runs, something about them, dude, very fun.
Yeah, he was a little wobbly on the snake run, but he made it. He ended up going out on the jumping spider. He just caught on the outside of the 6-foot portion rather than he didn't get far enough into the chute, basically.
Mm-hmm. It was the old adage that a lot of people make mistakes, and this guy's very new to not new to the sport, but this guy's new to stage 1. I have a feeling he's going to readjust from that very quickly next year.
Yeah. This is the kind of runs that we need, like, scattered throughout the episodes, where we're not sure where they're going to fall. They could go, they could do fantastic in their rookie season. They could go, they might go out a little sooner, later. You don't know. So I love having a little randomness thrown in there, and so we're not going, all right, we got like the top ninjas running for a while. We'll see a bunch of clears. Like it's a great little way to mix it up.
Yeah, good point. Especially about the fact that I think they said like 20 people completed this course this episode. So
yeah.
It could have been literally an entire episode of everybody completing it. And then it's like the suspense is gone. So yeah, I that was a very good point, Rich.
Another exciting run happened right after this. We had Jesse Labreck.
Oh my God. Okay. Woo. First of all, there is so much happening in this run. This is so good. Just, oh, man, if there's ever anything, like, if there's a chunk of this episode that you need to show people, it's definitely Jesse Labreck's run and Lance Pekus' run. These are the two big highlights for me. Wow, man. So, first of all, that video shows off so much of her personality. I love the fact that she just gets to show off her fun side, how entertaining she is, how funny she is. That part where she gets mixed up and she talks about being mixed up with Jesse Graff.
Right.
And she talks about how her boyfriend was telling his aunt, and then they show like on the screen Jesse Graff, their pigtails and everything, smiling, and then she's like, "Oh no, I'm the other Jesse, the suckier Jesse or something like that," which I don't believe in. But yeah, and then they show her, and it's not some picture like video of her doing anything. It's a video of her like doing the biggest derp face on the planet with her tongue out. That was comedic gold. Props. Slow clap to everybody involved doing that. It was so good.
I like that a lot, too.
I laughed so hard.
So she had a great run. She stopped to reconsider this jumping spider since she had fallen there last year. Like, she started making a run, then kind of came back and tried again. She did make it through this year, but she was going really slow in parkour run. I'm kind of like, okay, well, she's still got time. Everything's looking pretty good.
No, I mean, parkour run, I was screaming. I had my hands around my face.
Sorry.
I was scared.
To be clear, I mean on the beginning of parkour run, she was really kind of going through the steps, and then when she hit the rope, that's when I was freaking out at the screen. Like you said, like, oh my God, come on, please get that swing, get off of that rope.
She spent so long on that thing. It sucked, man. I mean, every once in a while, you'll find these ninjas that you just know. It's like, this is their year. This is their year. And then something terrible happens like this. Typically, it's like a foot in the water or something. This is almost the same for me. It's just like, no! Kept missing it. And it was just really tough to see. she was able to readjust. But once again, I mean, that time limit can really be a killer. And, ooh, I'll tell you this, though, Ridge. I actually thought she had a chance of completing this course.
Me too. She would have beat the course if it wasn't for that one little.
No, even after that, like when she was like got up that warped wall, I was like, wait, is she actually able to complete this course after all of that? I mean, like that would have been one of the most epic runs ever if she was able to come back from that.
Yeah, absolutely. I really was starting to think she might do it too because she is so strong and so good, and she started just plowing through the obstacles like. There is no way. Can she seriously do this? And unfortunately, she did go to the cargo net and actually thought she was going to get hung upside down in the water there for a second. But thankfully, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
She was just so exhausted. The time's running out, and she wasn't quite able to do it. But man, oh man, she has got it next year. There's no way she doesn't have it next year.
I completely co-sign that. I mean, she looked so phenomenal in this run without that one mild hiccup. I mean, or big hiccup, I should say. I mean, she really showed off just how good she is because a lot of the other obstacles that give a lot of people trouble, she flew through them. And these things happen, you know? That's why American Ninja Warrior is what it is. It's that everything's an unknown, and even the most minuscule obstacles that most people fly through, it can still trip some people up. And I don't know, I really see her going far because Jessie Labreck is in rare company where I can see her completing stage 1, and she's that rare breed where I can see her also completing stage 2 easily. And I really want to see how far she can get in this sport because there's going to be a moment one day where there's a woman standing underneath stage 4, and that's going to be such an amazing moment. And with the stage 4 how it is now, I feel like probably half the field that trains for stage 4 can do it. So just getting there, I mean, that would be crazy to see a woman actually complete this show, and I really want it to happen. And she has all the tools to do it.
That woman standing at the top of stage 4 is probably going to be named Jessie. We just don't know which one at this point.
Pretty much, yeah.
So we had a couple more fast forwards at this point. We had Ian Dory, who beat stage 1 this year, thankfully, and Thomas Stillings. So 2 of our ANW fantasy picks made it through.
Yeah, but like, why? Why are they skipping these guys? They're so good, and not just that. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, Ian Dory got like a feature in the finals, and it was just like last week. I really don't take much issue with him being fast forwarded.
I just really wanted to see, like, Thomas Stillings got skipped in the previous episode, and this one, and he got the fastest time of the night so far. It would have been just fun to see him run. It could have been like one of those things where you come back from break and he's halfway through a run, you know? Give him something, because I definitely wanted to see him do some of the later obstacles.
Yeah, he'll get lots of time on stage 3. Don't worry about it.
Well, let's hope.
I'm really hoping that's true. I'm hoping that it's true so much. But yeah, so then we got another feature for JJ Woods, man. He got a lot of love this season.
A lot of love.
I hadn't even clued in. So he went out on the Big Dipper last year in the qualifiers, and now he was facing the Double Dipper. Like, that had to be a little intimidating.
I love the cohesion of these storylines, man. It is all themed and everything. I mean, how perfect is that? And the shot that they had of him when he realized that there was a Double Dipper. Yeah. I mean, the look on his face with his eyes and everything, priceless, dude. He looked terrified. And it was so cool. It's I don't know. It was a very fun thing to have. The video wasn't too long or obtrusive or anything, and I really enjoyed it.
You know what I just kind of clued into, come to think of it? The reason this feels so cohesive and great of an episode is they really built season-long stories for all of these people. Everybody that's on this course had segments and features, and they really drilled them home this season. They really kind of built it backwards through the season, especially, you know, someone like JJ Woods, right? We've had his whole arc for ANW9. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and Andrew Lowe's storyline of not existing, and, you know, all the other ones.
Andrew
it's
who?
Great.
Sorry, Andrew.
Yeah, see, just doesn't exist. Yeah, I don't know what happened.
But yeah, JJ, you did 3 steps on Snake Run. Of all people to do that. JJ, what are you doing?
Just they're trying to give me a heart attack, man. Just I don't know.
He got tangled up with the propeller, but he did get through it. He had a rough landing off the double dipper, but he did end up beating it, thankfully. Not moving really fast for, especially for someone known for his parkour.
You know what? That's fine, bro. That is fine with me. Take your time, just because he's going through the obstacles fast enough where he can have a break between the transitions.
Well, yeah, especially when you skip over parkour, run the rope.
That's what, dude. How cool was that? I love it when there's creative ways to tackle an obstacle. That might have been the coolest way of tackling an obstacle I've seen. Parkour run, that rope is giving everybody trouble. All right, I'm just going to skip it.
It's awesome. I love when they don't put useless restrictions on obstacles. I love when they can use their creativity to get past it. It's fantastic.
Props, man. I mean, I would have never even thought of doing that. And here comes JJ just killing it once again with that creativity.
He had a rough jump on Flying Squirrel. I thought it was just... Ooh, man, that did not look smooth. But he ended up beating it. Yeah. And he said, I liked his little quote there at the end when Christine's talking to him, and he says, and she asked about the switch grip, which he didn't use on the double dipper. He said if 299 out of 300 people used the switch grip, he still wouldn't use it. He was done with it.
That's awesome, man. If it works for you, keep doing what you're doing, I can't knock the hustle.
Yeah. Great job by JJ. I was so happy to see. It's not an ending to his season. Thankfully, he does move on to the next stage, but I feel like it bookends the redemption for him this year very well.
Mm-hmm.
So then we had some more fast forwards. Actually, we got a whole string of them here. We had Sean Darling Hammond, who was able to beat stage 1. That's great.
Giving Ninja.
Yes, the Giving Ninja. Great point. Drew Knopp, who had a close call on the dominoes, but he did make it as well, so he moves on to stage 2.
Worst catchphrase ever.
Can't stop Knopp. That is terrible. Mike Bernardo, so excited to see he was able to beat stage 1 as well. And
so happy for Bernardo, man.
Yeah, Bernardo's
awesome.
Great. And Kevin Bull, who struggled on the parkour run and the wall, as they noted.
How did they skip Kevin Bull, man?
Well, because they show that he's struggling, and then if you look at the clock when he finished, he's still at 27 seconds left. It was so less than dramatic when he's that much time left on the clock.
But when you think about it, right? He's struggling. He still has all that time left. So obviously, it was a shaky run, and he was just going recklessly through it and everything. Aren't those runs usually the funnest of runs that you can watch?
Yeah.
Why did they skip it? I would love to have seen it. I really hope they at least show have that run online on their YouTube feed, because I have a feeling Kevin Bull's run is a lot funner than they made it out to be on this fast forward.
It's possible. But next to take the course was Dan Yeager, who I totally bought it, because to me, they featured him heavy this season. I thought we were going to see Dan Yeager in stage 3 for sure this season. I thought he was the go-to guy. They've really been featuring him heavy. Then they show him again here, his full run, and I'm like, all right, let's see Dan tear up the course. And he missed the transition on the double dipper, and I would have lost that bet every single day.
Yeah. I mean, I think more than anything else is the obstacle and the way he went out. I just didn't see that happening. And I mean, it sucks, but things happen. And I'm happy that Dan Yeager at least had a really good story this season and was featured predominantly. It's just unfortunate that his time was cut short, but I mean, in many ways, there's a lot more of the Wolfpack that's running through it, and I'm sure he can cheer for his friends at least.
Yep. So we'll see them next week. Next to take the course was actually Alyssa Beird. Miss Beird, the teacher.
Miss Beird.
I like when he calls her Miss Beird. I like that a lot. So she noted she's been focusing on total body training, so she has no weaknesses, just trying to cover all of her bases.
I know one weakness of hers, because my girlfriend always reminds me of it.
What is that?
Dude, once again, I'm watching with my girlfriend, right? And first thing out of her mouth, as soon as Alyssa Beird comes up, I hear just my girlfriend scream, "It's the girl in her shorts again!" And she's just... My girlfriend has this fascination with the fact that Alyssa Beird has way too short of shorts, apparently, and the fact that after every time she lands any obstacle, she has to readjust her shorts, and I guess that really annoys my girlfriend, and sorry, just, like, the little Sarah tidbit for me, and just... When you see it, you can't not see it, I guess is the best point, because now that's all I focus on. She completes an obstacle, she has to readjust her shorts. Why?
Yeah, but anyway, so she was the third woman of the night to beat the jumping spider. Like, this, like, I didn't know what to make of this episode, because we haven't even seen Jessie Graff and Megan Martin, the two that we're most used to seeing beating these things. But she was able to beat the wall, and she beat stage 1. Like, palm run of the night. Totally destroyed it. Amazing run.
Yeah, just next level. So happy for Alyssa Beird. It's hard to describe, but just I'm so happy for her. The fact that, is this her sophomore year? I mean, she's not been in Ninja Warrior that long, man. And what a rising star. What a great storyline that she's had. Not to mention the fact that she's coming from a profession of teaching. I mean, she's literally a 5th grade school teacher. How cool is that? Talk about, like, Joe Moravsky being a weatherman and all this other stuff. She's literally a 5th grade teacher. When you picture your 5th grade teacher, you don't picture somebody that's completing Stage 1 on American Ninja Warrior. Just, I love everything about her storyline and everything. Alyssa Beird, congratulations. You are tied for the Athletically Profound Run of the Night. Really cool. My girlfriend humbly asks that you get new shorts, apparently. But so happy for you. We had a couple of fast forwards after that. We had Flip Rodriguez. He was able to beat stage 1 in spite of hip surgery. And Brent Stephenson was also able to beat it and get the fastest time of the night up to that point. So much going on with these runs. I mean, both of them I really would have liked to see. But more than anything else, I feel like Flip Rodriguez's run, I mean, that one's important to see, especially on stage 1. Dude's so good. He already has a built-in storyline of having hip problems with this race. I mean, I really feel like it would have been important to see.
Yep. Hopefully we'll get some stage 2 love for him, though. But I got to talk about this next run, because I can't even describe how worried I was. For the first time this season, I was worried about Joe Moravsky, because
really?
Well, here's the thing. So they go on, and it's one or the other. It's like he set the fastest record in USA versus World, and they're going on about how he never falls. Right? They're going on fastest time never falls. Fastest time never falls. I'm like, oh God, he is gonna have the fastest time, or he's totally gonna fall.
I can see that.
It's like all my.
But that said, I mean, I was not worried at all about Joe Moravsky.
No, watching him go through, I can't even say that I wasn't worried, because I was the whole time. I totally was. I couldn't help it. I psyched myself out. I thought for sure he was gonna fall, but no, he was. You know what? I'd say about the halfway point when I saw how fast he was going and how smooth, I was like, okay, so he's got the fastest time. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm. I mean, just dude's great. Once again, it's more of a shocker ever when he falls rather than when he completes the course. And it's just, I don't know, you just expect him to just be perfect at everything, especially stage 1. I mean, come on, Joe's not falling on stage 1.
The fact
that it's not going to happen.
Well, last year he fell on stage 2, and it was a shocking early exit for him. Like, who considers stage 2 a shocking early exit?
Drew and Joe, those are the only two for me, man.
Pretty much, yeah. But yeah, great run by Joe, thankfully, and we'll get to see him move on again.
So if there's a competitor where I take that mentality of this guy's either falling immediately or getting the fastest time, it's Lorin Ball, bro.
Yeah, they always kind of hype him up that way. He's got
because it's true.
He's got the Talladega Nights. If you're not first, you're last mentality. That's why.
Hey, it's a good thing to have. I mean, if you're not gonna win the show, make it fun. And Lorin Ball is always fun. You always go in knowing that something's going to happen.
Well, this was a weird one for him, though. You talk about Maggie Thorne hesitating on the double dipper.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like that. He's like adjusting his hands back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Like, this can't be good. This is not a good sign for Lorin.
Yeah, especially he trains with the wolf peg. He's been on bars before. He knows which grip he likes. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I don't know, but he ended up falling. They said the second bar spun backwards on him afterwards.
I mean, yeah, the way in the transition, once again, you get the transition wrong, and it's going to really affect you. If you're landing on a bar like that, and your back is kind of like parallel to the water, you don't have that I guess wrap around with your hands. If you grab onto it and your back's against it, your body weight's just going to pull you downwards, and the bar's just going to spin out right from underneath your hands. Hard to explain, but trust me, it's there.
Mm-hmm. So unfortunately, Lorin did go out in stage 1, which you would think would be his wheelhouse, and he would just totally destroy it, but unfortunately wasn't the case.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had the last run of the night, and I got to tell you, Lance Pekus's segment.
Oh man,
I'm not even gonna lie, I was bawling. I totally got pulled into his story. That was just gut wrenching.
Yeah, I got really emotional, and it's rare that where like a TV show will really do that to me, and I think it says a whole lot more about the fact that we've seen Lance these past few years, but Lance has always been more. He's gone into his own, like maybe last year and this year. But before, it was kind of like, oh, the fun cowboy guy. Man, this storyline just really hit home to me, just what was going on with him. And in many ways cemented himself as like one of the top stars. I mean, it's a running joke with me being like, why is Lance Pekus a featured ninja? You know, and I forget which qualifier it was. It may have been like Texas or something. But wow, this run really made me respect him a whole lot. I mean, just everything about the story was a lot. But, you know, you said it hit you a lot. Let me know what you were thinking, man.
Well, I don't know. I was saying to my wife, actually, and after watching it, I said, you know what? Like, I feel bad. I feel like I don't appreciate my health enough. Do you know what I mean? Like, I see someone like that did, you know, was active and young and energetic and everything. We've seen her in segments with Lance over the years, right? They're horseback riding, they're doing different things. And to see her, you know, for those, you know, I don't know how you couldn't remember, but if you didn't happen to have watched the episode for some reason, Lance Pekus' wife has multiple sclerosis and has gone 8 or 9 years without symptoms, but they're getting bad now, and now she's using a walker. And to think of someone young and healthy, you know, having their body just start breaking down in that way and having them push through and doing what they can to, I don't even know how to express it. It's just, it's so much to take in, and you feel so connected to everybody on this show if you've been watching it for years, right? You've seen them, you feel like you know them. It was a lot. It was a lot. Watching it was when he's carrying her off, and they like did like a very beautiful shot of him carrying her, and I was done.
That was a very powerful moment. And also the fact that, you know, we haven't just seen Lance over the past few years. We've seen his wife as well. And that physical change that they show on the TV screen, I mean, it just hits hard to home just what she's going through. And for me, it was a moment where she's trying to talk about like being strong and that she's a positive person and everything, and then she starts breaking down. And man, that just that ended it for me. I mean, just emotionally, you can connect to the pain that she's going through, because Lance is a stand-up guy. He's there for his wife and everything. But let's not forget, it's his wife that's really going through this. And, you know, it's got to be hard on her, like, losing all those physical things that she had most of her life. And I just really, really hope something happens where she's able to garner some of her strength back and her health back. I don't know enough about MS, and, you know, that's more my fault. But, you know, if there is anything that can help her, I really hope, you know, they find it.
Yeah, and I think that might be playing into it too, because I guess in a way that one of the first people I lost was my first grade music teacher. Died of MS, so it was always very near and dear. We raised a lot of money in elementary school year after year for multiple sclerosis. So yeah, I think that probably played into it as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, either way, I mean, just really heartbreaking story about the family and everything. But, you know, going into his run, it was like, for me, that was the one I was worried about, because like, if this guy doesn't make stage 1, I mean, that's going to be like the most heartbreaking thing ever for me. I'm like, they already gave the Palm wonderful gift. They like everything's leading up. He's the last run because of the story. Maybe like could it be they build me up like this, just like already kill me even more, like dig in the knife and then twist it, like. Oh man, I was not like emotionally. I couldn't handle him not completing stage 1, but I was cheering for him so hard the entire way.
I don't know. I wasn't really connecting it as much to his run. I was so happy for him to be going through it. I guess I don't know. I had some trouble getting into the. I didn't matter how far he made it through the run for me. I was just so caught up in the story, I guess, that I wasn't even overthinking like I usually do. Like, okay, so Palm's been given out. Like, I was totally just disconnected at that point. Just, wow. Like, I can't even imagine.
I mean, it's a lot to take in, right?
But yeah, he ended up, he was looking strong. You know, I was floored at how fast he was doing it by the time I realized how fast he was going. And that he was going to beat Joe's time. And then he put the little hat on the buzzer, like, really? We have this like hugely emotional thing going on, and then he puts a little hat on the buzzer, and it made me laugh. I'm like, all right, so that was good. I kind of ended on a little more happier note, I guess, for the whole episode.
Yeah, dude, that was really nice. I liked the little hat thing. That was adorable.
Yeah, that was pretty cute.
I really hope that's more of a thing. And first of all, big improvement by the fact that he ditched the baggy pants for more of joggers. I get it, do the cowboy thing, but man, those baggy pants do not work well for you when you're doing an agility-based course. So right. I'm really happy he switched that up. And he really kept the connection with the hat, though, placing it on the buzzer. And I hope that becomes more of his theme. It'll work out much better for him in that way. And yeah, just more so, I hope we get updates, you know, over the next few years of how his wife's doing and how he's doing with the family and everything. Yeah, I don't know how to say it. We see these competitors. We feel like we know them, as you said, Rich. And when really bad things happen, it's, you know, you can feel that pain.
Well, I mean, look through this episode. I'm just kind of scrolling through the list here in my brain. We've had, like, how much do you feel like you know a lot of these people, and how much of their worst and best moments have you seen? We've got, you know, families that have, you know, suffered through fires. Other ones, you know, going through divorce, and we have couples getting together and train together. Alcoholism. We have injuries, near-death incidents, and you know, it's just crazy. Like, you look through this whole list, it's like, no wonder this show is so amazing. It takes you on a complete emotional roller coaster every episode.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, but you know, that's the one good thing is American Ninja Warrior actually hits the beats that a lot of other shows fail to do, in particularly Spartan Ultimate Challenge, whatever the heck it's called. I mean, they really hit the high points and the low points of people's lives, but not making it obtrusive or just like flagrant. You know, it's never offensive with how they present it, and I appreciate that a whole lot because it's very, very easy to go way too far in one way.
Yes, and it's not that they never do it; they're just much better at it than most.
It's rare though. Yeah. Also, congratulations. I mean, it's probably no shocker to anybody. Lance Pekus gets tied for athletically profound run of the night. I mean, you know, y'all know what's coming.
Yeah, that was a pretty easy call. All right, so that was it for this episode.
Yeah. By the way, special shout out because out of 20 finishers, 3 weren't featured on the episode at all. And I just like, why? You couldn't fast forward them or anything. So special shout out. You're going to get some love on our podcast, guys. Cass Clausen, Eric Middleton, and this one person named Andrew Lowe's. Big shout out. We really hope to see you on stage 2. This Andrew Lowe's fella, just, I feel like we're never going to see him. Why?
Maybe that'll be we have our 2-year anniversary coming up special. Maybe it'll be a full special dedicated to Andy Lowe's. Maybe that's what we should do.
Dude, we need to make an episode dedicated like Andrew Lowe's, Nicholas Coleridge. Who else just is always like skipped, bro? I'm sure there's a few. We just need to have an episode like a tribute to like all the people that go so far but just like are never ever featured.
But if you have other ideas for our 2-year anniversary, definitely send those in. We will be doing that after the ANW season is over. And for those that haven't joined us in the past, for those that just come during the American Ninja Warrior regular season, we do run this all year round. We have lots of other topics to cover. We keep it very OCR based for the most part. So we covered Ultimate Beastmaster on Netflix, which was amazing. We covered UK Ninja Warrior, which was definitely not.
Boo! Oh.
But we try to...
Y'all don't want that.
We have your favorite ninjas come on the show with us time and again. We've had course designers. We've had all kinds of different people, and it'd be great if you could join us. So if you could, right now, in your podcast app, make sure you subscribe, set it to auto download. If you're listening to us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe there and turn on notifications. We just want to make sure you remember us when the season's faded in a couple of weeks.
Painful.
We've had such a long run. We were just noting that before we recorded tonight. We went from Ultimate Beastmaster into Team Ninja Warrior right into ANW. We've gone 6+ months with all kinds of things to talk about.
It never ends, guys. Every once in a while, I get people be like, "The show's over. What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Oh, if you only knew." There's always stuff to talk about. Trust me, you guys will go on a journey with us. It's fun.
And if you'd like to reach out to us, you can reach me as rich@ninjapodcast.com. I am at Ninja Podcast on both Instagram and Twitter. And Bijan, how can they reach you?
Hit me up at Twitter and Instagram at Bijan151. That is Bijan 151.
All right. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you have a fantastic week.
Peace and love, y'all.